you. Uh, I will be starting. I will be giving the introductions of software testing, right? So basically, this is the agendas of today. And what is software testing, and actually, what is about the manual testing? What is software development life cycle? What is all about? What the problems had while doing the testing, right, in the application or in any of the software, and what will be the defects and how many types of defects are there, what is the verifications and validation, what is the main difference, right? It is also called as a V model. Then when to start, when to stop the testings, types of testings, patterns and level of testings, and for as a testers quality is a big name, right? So this is the agenda what we need to I need to teach you today. So software testing, process of analyzing and operating a software and a software work product with an intention to find defect, which will help to improve the quality. See, basically, the motive of the tester is that to find as maximum defect as a tester can. That is the best quality or the best performance a tester can give to the organizations. As much as defect he can find, he can give the best. So next is the what is the manual testing. So manual testing is a process carried out to find the defects. In this matter, the tester plays an important role as an end user and verify all the features of applications to ensure that the behavior of the application. Here, what happens exactly in manual testing, that a tester actually look at what exactly the customer requirement is, and according to that, tester need to test that applications and how that application works, what are the features, what are the functionalities, what are the flow of the application. Each and everything a tester need to be tested. Next point is the manual testing is a very basic type of testing which helps to find the bugs in the application under the test. As and when tester is testing the applications, he or she need to prepare the bug reports so that we can solve it out later on. Next slide is the main objective of a software testing, that is to find the bugs as early as possible and get them fixed. Suppose I have an example, right? A shopping system is there, and if you are delivering, if you are purchasing any goods, right, and the payment gateway does not work properly, so that means that there is a bug between the applications and the third-party payment module. So we need to identify that as the testers. So the main objective is that to find the bugs, right, and which is more important for the testers. If suppose any testers do not able to find out the bugs, then for him or her is so difficult to work also. Now this is the SDLC process. Now I'll have an first of all I'll have an another process, that is the software testing life cycle. See here, software development life cycle is a superset of a testing, right? And testing is a subset of a SDLC life cycle. Testing is not a different subject; it is a part of the software development life cycle, but just it's a different different part, different module need to be learned here. So a developer follow a software development life cycle and the testers follows a software testing life cycle, but at the parallel it works both parallel. So requirements, first step is the requirement, right? When the projects comes, the first is the requirement, then second is the analysis part, right? We need to a developer need to be analyzed, right? How to prepare the flows and all that thing. After that, designing part is there, coding is there, and testing. So here from here this point testers will work, okay. And after completing the testings, the project goes into the deployment and the maintenance sections completely. So these are the steps need to be followed in the software development life cycle, and this is very important. Everybody who is in the project or who is developing the application or testing the application need to be follow this life cycle, which is very important. Now the next slide comes with that software and software problem. See, when exactly we test the application, any applications, right? So some of the common defects which we see always, right? Let's have an example. Suppose incorrect calculations, right? Suppose there is some ERP or employee salary detail is there, form is there. So it is possible to have an incorrect calculations on that form. After that, there is another point, that is incorrect data edits and effective data edits. Right. It happens that suppose if you are inserting a data, right, and after that if you want to update the data, so it's not possible that the data will be edited. After, so next point is the incorrect matching and merging of the data. So basically what happens here, that suppose I'll give you an example. Country, if you are selecting country, the state should be automatically filtering, and after selecting the state, the city should be automatically filtered. But here what happens that when you select the country, state does not automatically filter, right? After that data searches, that incorrect result. Suppose I'll have an again here example. Suppose there is a Flipkart applications, right? If you are searching some products, and while searching the products exactly, you are not matching that product, then the output will be uh, wrong completely. Another point is the incorrect processing of data relationship. Right, here what happens, suppose you are preparing, suppose the database has been prepared, right, and the relationship goes wrong. So yeah, automatically the data will also goes wrong in the front of the applications. Another part is the incorrect coding implementations of the business rules. Right, if a developer cannot have not understand the requirement properly, it may happen that he will implement the incorrect codings, and after that it will be forwarded to the testers and test. Here we need to find out the flow, that where it is wrong exactly. And the main point is the performance of the application. Suppose I'll have an example of a Facebook. Suppose a Facebook will work slow or a WhatsApp will work slow. So what happens, the users will be less for that applications. And this is very important to give that each and every application need to be have a performance, and there are some tools which need to be tested uh, for performance testing. That is the HP loader is there, right, but it comes with a license version. Next is the what is the defect exactly. So any variance between the expected and the actual is called defect, and in reality we try to take something else. Suppose I have an example, that defect. Suppose you are you have a one page. You are doing a registrations with one page. Now, when you enter the data, right, you find that actual value should be. Suppose I'll have an example that contact in the contact number field, it will enter 10 digit, right? This is your actual. But when you entering the data, so in the contact number field, it goes up to the 12 characters. It accepting the 12 characters. So there is a difference. What you have actually, and what it is expected. So the difference between the expected and the actual is called a defect. Now these are the types of defects. So software is not doing what it's supposed to do. Suppose a tester has an documentations, right? And according to the documentation, software is not working properly. So in that case, this is a defect. We can a tester can count it as a defect. Doing what is not supposed to do. Some of the points which is mentioned in the document, and it is doing above the document, right? And which should not work or not to be shown to the client. And that is also happening into the software. So that is also one type of defect. Third point is not doing what is supposed to do, but not mentioning the requirement document, right? Actually, the client requirements, right, was something else, but that was not mentioned in the SRS. And according to the SRS, the implementation was not happened by the developers, and after that, a tester is not implemented, right? So that is also one type of defect, and this is something a big defect, which if the software works slow, if it is difficult to understand how to use. Suppose there are many big business ERPs are there, but if it is been developed in such a manner that it is easy to implement for the technical and the non-technical person, right? Then I think there is no defect here, but it is it works fine, but the designs are very complex and it is very hard to use and it works slow, I think that there will be a defects. Next one we are covering is the reasons for the problems. Why the defects occurs in the application. That is the main point we need to learn it here. And why the defects occurs? Due to the lack of understanding, it is possible that the client requirement does not understand properly. That's why there is a defect comes in the applications. Fear of asking questions, missing detailing, right, of the client, assumption goes wrong, or the flows goes wrong, poor confidence, right, missing some data by the development team side. Why the data has been missed by the development team? Because when the business analysis has not taken the requirement properly and it has been not been transferred properly to the developers, then there is a problem that it can some data should be missed by the development team, and that defect will be carried on completely. Due to the poor documentation, it is also possible and poor knowledge transfer. See, this point covers that. Suppose if I don't have a knowledge, I could not provide a good knowledge to you also, right? So here the last point I cover is that if we don't know the exactly what is the client requirement, don't suggest to the other people also. Otherwise, it can be a big problem in the softwares, and there will be a lots of recreations in the applications. Now there are many models which comes in the software development lifecycle, but this is one of the B model which is used in the software testing only. There is the verifications and the validations, right? Verification means are you building the product right, and software must conform to its specifications, right? And validations means, so verification covers the whole software development lifecycle, and validation covers the whole software testing life cycles, or we call it as a dynamic testing, or we call it as a level of testing. So here is some slogan of the verification and validation. So for verification, the slogan is, are you building the product right? And for slogan of validation is, are you building the right product? Now say when to start and when to stop the testing. When you can start the testing, when all the requirements are baseline, when all the requirements are freezed by the client or by the project managers, then it can be possible to start the testings. And when we need to stop the testing, when all the bugs comes below 1%, right? Then a tester can stop the testings and move on to the further projects. Now there are two types of testing: static testing and dynamic testing. Static testing can also be called as a method of testing, and dynamic testing can also be called as the levels of testing. Now, basically the method of testings. So there is a black box testings and white box testings. Now in the black box testing, in black box testings only there are input and output. Suppose there is an input, right? Just tester will test the application and will see the outputs, whether the data which are filled in the form, it has been displayed properly or not. That is covers in the black box testings. And in the white box testings, there is an input, process, and output. So in the white box testing, what happens? Suppose we are filling the form. A tester is filling the form to test that form, right? Filling the data and for testing that form. Now what happens? If some bugs come or some error occurs, he can go to the code, he can rectify the code, and after that he can check the output. So whether after rectifying the output comes properly or not. So these are the two methods of testing that need to be remembered. There is the black box testings and white box testings. Another part is the level of testings. So you need to remember here there are types of testings, method of testings, level of testings, right? Now in the level of testings, there are again four types, which are the unit testings, integration testings, systems, and UAT. UAT stands for user acceptance testings. So unit testing, it is also called as a component testings, and component testing is also called as a module testing. Suppose I'll have one example on unit testings. There is one ERP system, that is enterprise resource planning, and I want to test only one module, that is a sales module. So if a tester is testing only one module of the whole application, then it is need to be set as a unit testing. And there are tools also. Automation tools are also provided for the unit testing. That is JUnit and AND-unit. After that, integration testing. Again, in the integration testings, what happened? Suppose I'll have an again example on ERP only. Suppose there are two models, sales and purchase, on the whole ERP. If individual models work fine, sales is working fine, purchase is working fine. But if we integrate two modules, sales and purchase, then need to test it whether both the models together works fine or not, or it occurs some logical error. That need to be tested. After that, system testing. In system testing, a tester tests the application which is nearest to the production department or which match to the nearest production department, and that is more important, right? Suppose if we are testing the application on Windows 7 and client have a Windows 8, so there will be mismatch. I think the application will also not work properly in that case. So you need compulsory a tester need to be do the system testing which matches almost to the uh, production department. And UAT, that is user acceptance testing. User acceptance testing, there are two types, alpha and beta. In alpha, customer will come to the developer site, right? He will test the application and there he will have a help of testers also as developer also, and he will test that spelling mistakes and all that thing. In the beta testing, what happens? Our applications will move on to the customer side. They will test their end sites by the end users, and if any error found, they will prepare one report and mail it to us. And after it becomes solid. This happens in the beta testing. So these are the four levels of testing, which is I think very easy, right, to implement also. And after that, the last one is the quality. See, for tester, compulsory quality is more important. See, if a tester cannot bring a quality in the applications, then it is of no use. So, if you want to bring in the application of good quality, then a testers can bring it, right? And for us, this is a very important keyword. We can call it as a quality. Thank you very much. This was the end of the sessions for software testing.